Story time. I want to tell you the time that I found out my mother practiced voodoo. Um, we were living in Detroit, Michigan at that particular time, and we stayed on the west side off of Plymouth. I can't remember. On Manor. We lived on Manor off of Plymouth Road. And when we moved into this house, I was 14. We moved into this house, and I thought it was really strange that there was white um, powder, if you will, all around all of the baseboards in this house. And I'm thinking, what in the world is that? And we were just told, don't sweep it up. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. But what is it? I was the child who always needed to know what something was and why we can't do this or go here, or why you don't want us to see this, that, and the other. I was that child who had all of the questions. And this house in particular was a bit strange to me. Um, and let me add that also at that particular time, I was pregnant with my first child, you know, but I didn't know it, right? And so, anyway, I shared a room with my aunt, and then it was three bedrooms, and then the other room was where my sister um, was staying. Sleeping. My other three sisters, and my mom slept in the other room. And so the room that I was sleeping in with my aunt, my bed was facing the attic door. And I every night I would wake up in the middle of the night and would see this attic door open, and there was no reason for it to be open. And I would get up and I would close it back. And so then I would get back in the bed and lay down. But one particular night when I got up to close it, and I closed it and I got back in the bed to lay down to go to sleep, back to sleep. And all of a sudden, the door came open again. And I saw this figure walk right on past, walk into the hallway, and went to the left, which was in the room where my siblings were sleeping. And I was so terrified that I threw the cover over my head. I'm 14 years old. And I'm just like, whoa, what did I just see? So I take the cover and peek out to look and see where else this thing is going to go. And I'm looking, and it goes into the room, come out of the room where my siblings were. I don't know how long it was in there because I don't remember how long I was hiding under the cover. But anyway, then it went in the room with my mother. And I was just so scared that I just threw the cover back over myself. And I was just praying and praying till eventually I fell asleep. And when I got up in the morning, the door was back closed this much because at first it was open wide after I had closed it. And then I remember my mother telling us, that room that's in the basement, don't y'all go in that room. And I'm thinking, well, what's in the room that you don't want us to go in the room? And if anybody who's from Detroit, Michigan and grew up there in the 70s and 80s know that back then they used to have these huge furnaces in the basements to heat the houses, and it had all of these what we called as children arms, but they was, ducts that went up to the vents and stuff, and it just looked like a demon itself. Okay. And so it was in that basement. It was huge. And so I tricked my sister who was underneath me. And I was like, Chris, I said, let's go in the basement and play. I'm already terrified of that great big old furnace because it looked like it would devour you. But anyway, she was like, okay, what we going to do? I said, let's just go down here and play. She was scared of the thing too, but I just got her to go along because I wanted to know why my mother didn't want us to go in that room. So we was playing, and I told her, I said, let's play hide and seek. Let's play hide and seek. And she was like, okay. And I said, you go hide. So she went, and hid. I don't even remember. But all I knew is I'm gonna open that door. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway, I opened the door. And when the door opened, this boot dropped. Boom. And it started swinging. And it would come out the doorway in. And I was like, what in the world? What is it hanging on? The boot is swinging, and I'm trying to feel on the wall to turn the light on, but there's no switch. And I heard something say, it's right in front of you. Just reach out, you'll grab it. So I reached and I grabbed the light. And when I grabbed the light, the boot stopped. And the boot was a old fishing boot. It was the longest it was the longest boot I ever seen in my life. And it stopped, and I remember looking to the left, and when I looked to the left, it was white powder. There were shelves in there. It was white powder, also down in there, but there was bones, real bones in there, and they were set up in some type of way. And then there were pictures in there of dead bodies and stuff. And I'm thinking, what in the world did I just come in here and see and do? And I just remember looking around, and it was just so much stuff in that room on the shelves and stuff. So I hurried up and cut the light out and closed the door. And because now I know what's in here, and I don't know why, this is in here. And then some of the pictures, it was, pictures of unalive people that looked like they had been, the pictures had been taken there in that house, at some point in time. I don't know. But I'm just like, whoa, what in the world is going on? What is my mama into? Um, and my uncle, which was my mom's baby brother, his wife, whose house it was, she also was a practitioner, you know. But I wouldn't know any of that back then. And I was like, oh my gosh, what in the world is wrong with these people? And it was at that particular time that I knew all those years that of me being with my mother, which was 7 years because I grew first 7.5 years with my father and then the last with my mother. Um, I knew then that this woman wasn't really one to be messed with. And so that's how I found out that my mother practiced voodoo.